so I'm sitting here calling the office, and I'm going, okay, where is the Braintrust I'm supposed to be going? I was supposed to be here at 1 o'clock. And so we didn't finish our taping until about 1:15, and folks were sitting here wanting to take pictures and things along those lines. So I bolt out of the door, and I'm sitting there, so I hang a left. I'm like, I'm calling, I said, where's the room? She called me back, she said, room 206. I'm like, where in the hell is that? I'm like, damn, I just shot the show right next door. 207. Hey, I didn't need to rush. Seriously, and one of the reasons we did that, we shot the show at the Emerging Leaders Town Hall, is because one of the things that we have done with Washington Watch. First of all, how many folks have actually seen Washington Watch? Raise your hand. All right. Of course, we're the only 1-hour Sunday morning news show that speaks to African Americans on any network. And I make the point all the time that if you want to see black folks actually on television on Sunday morning talking about issues, you are not going to find them on Meet the Press, Face the Nation this week. In fact, you likely are going to see more black people on one show than you'll see on all the other shows in the entire month. And the same thing, no other Sunday morning show, I think, has a higher ratio of women who appear on Sunday morning shows than our show. And so, because we understand voices that have been left out. And so we talk about disparities of health, we can talk about disparities in television as well when it comes to our concerns. And the reason we chose to do the show at CBC is because we do take our show on the road because we want to bring attention to folks who otherwise ignore it. We shot a show last year at Sheila Johnson's resort in Innisbrook, and that was our Black Power show. And here you have a black woman and buys this resort. She hires an executive chef who is African American. She has a director of golf who is African American. And we wanted to show our audience this is what happens when you are able to create wealth and be able to hire who you choose to hire. But the other thing is that if you've seen the show, we will have, and it drives me crazy when I watch other shows, and they will have doctors on, they will have members of Congress on who are healthcare providers, and I made it clear I'm tired of it. Nothing against Tom Price, nothing against Ron Paul. I said, but y'all do know Congresswoman Christensen also is a healthcare provider, folks. And so we have her on the show. Because it's important to send that message to the country that we have the same talent in our community that you see in other communities as well. And so the same reason why we drive these issues on the Tom Corner morning show, and I did the same thing in my syndicated column as well. But here's what you need to do. You have to make sure that you articulate to BET, to TV One, to Black Radio, that our stories are not all about fun and jokes and sitcoms. You have to be able to, because I want to understand, when we talk about nationally syndicated radio shows, Tom Joyner has 8 million listeners. Steve Harvey has 7 million listeners. Michael Basin has 2.5 million listeners. Yolanda Adams has more than 1 million listeners. Ricky Smiley, the exact same thing. Doug Banks. All of these are nationally syndicated radio shows. And the reason I'm emphasizing radio is because when I moderated a panel on radio at the Rainbow Push Coalition several years ago, Arbitron was there, and they measured radio ratings, and they showed the difference between what white Americans 12 plus, meaning 12 years or older, listen to compared to African Americans. The top radio format for white Americans was around 9.6%, and that was talk radio, and it was evenly split from talk radio to pop, to rock, to country, all the different categories. For African Americans, the #1 radio format was R&B at 49.9%. So what that says is we get our information largely from radio, and we're listening to music formats. And so to your point about health disparities, the reason we don't know is because while other folks are getting information to know, we're dancing. And so you as a consumer must make sure that you are letting folks know, don't just use your mediums to dance. Don't just use your mediums to laugh. Use your mediums to inform. And so those executives need to hear from you, and not just people say, hey man, I watch your show. They need to know our ratings have gone up every single week. I mean, one of our executives are here, he said, man, they're trying to figure out TV One, what are y'all doing? Because every week, people are tuning in. I'm like, have anybody else decided to watch the show? Maybe that's why. So you have to let them know that we have to be able to have our information out there, because too many African Americans are dying purely because of a lack of knowledge. And so I've made it clear, if folk don't like it, understand in my contract I have final say-so what happens on my show. And so if you want to sign me, you got to give me that authority. And that's why I put who I want on the show, because we have to have these stories out here. And again, we are seeing how it's changing, how it's affecting our community. But you have to do your part to tell these executives, do not diminish the importance of these stories, because if we don't inform ourselves on black networks, on black radio, and black newspapers, we cannot expect somebody else to do it. So Congresswoman, I certainly appreciate it. Thanks a lot. And I have another panel. I got to give some folks some hell at another event. So that's what I do. You give them hell as much as you can. And like I say, somebody got to swing, so you got to swing when you can.